Welcome to another episode of the Carlito Monroe Show. I'm your host, Carlito Monroe. And I've been on a little hiatus for a while. It's been, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 weeks. Haven't put out any content, put out any shows or anything, but been busy over the holidays working and just trying to get regular life shit, keep everything like that going. And we all go through that. So this show thing is kind of a hobby for me, just something to do when I'm around the house getting older, so I don't run the streets and do all those different things anymore. So I enjoy doing it when I do come around doing it because I got different stories and different stuff I could talk about. But I'm gonna try to do at least at the bare minimum one show a week. But I like to do 2 or 3. But I just been more busy than normal, so it's kind of hard to try to do this kind of thing with having a job and a family and just doing all kind of stuff. Just because I'm a regular guy, I'm no fancy Joe Buttons or somebody like that. That's this is their whole life is to put out content, do shows, and express their opinion and make money from it. I don't make a dime from it. I probably never will make a dime from it because I don't really give a shit like that. I just enjoy doing it, and I have a point of view on different topics that may come up, and then sometimes I just tell a story. But that's pretty much what this show is about. I talk about different things, but I think today I'm gonna do a story. I actually talked about this the other day with my wife, and I don't think she had ever heard the story before, but it's something that happened in high school. So, but before I get into it, like, share, subscribe. I have my social media information at the bottom, just, to go to any of that stuff. You can follow on Instagram if you want. It doesn't, I don't even really give a damn for real. Just, that's what everybody says, like, share, subscribe. So just like, share, subscribe, and whatever you want to do. But at least sub, so when I tell stories or some content that I want to talk about, it'll pop up on your YouTube where you have the option to choose if you want to hear what I got to say today or not, whatever. So that's the main reason for liking and subscribing, so I can get a part of that algorithm if you're interested in what I got to say anyway. But the story I wanted to talk about today was what happened in high school. And I've had a lot of stories from high school, but this is one of the, I guess, a traumatic event that happened in high school. It didn't necessarily happen to me, but I was there. I was somewhat involved in it. And I'll just tell the story, and you just pretty much goes how it goes. In high school, it's like my freshman year. I was 14 years old. Yeah, 14 years old. I was actually a younger freshman. Freshmen nowadays are 15, 16. But I was 14. And, I went out for the basketball team, made the team. But I'm not even sure if they cut people or not because I wasn't that good at it, not as a freshman anyway. And I'm not going to say any names, but the coach that I had was a black coach, and he was also a gym teacher at that school, and it was a Catholic private school, which is closed now. But and not from this event that it closed; it just closed in general over time. I think it had asbestos. I went there 2 years. We actually were breathing asbestos for 2 years at this school. Then they finally, the state was like, "Hey, you got to shut down if y'all ain't gonna fix that." But anyway, they ended up shutting the school down. Actually, it's a prison now. They made that. I imagine for the prisoners, they would at least take the asbestos out of there. I would think state being involved, and I don't know. I don't even know. But they made it I think it's a medium security or maybe minimum. I can't remember which one is worse. One is a little worse than the other. I think medium is worse than the minimum. But anyway, it's one of those jail. They made it a jail now, but it had asbestos in it, so they shut the school down my sophomore year. But my freshman year is when this happened. So the coach, he was a black guy. He was also our gym teacher. So I'd imagine he had a teaching certificate, was certified, went to college to be a teacher, I guess. I don't know, but he was the basketball coach, freshman basketball coach, and I think he was a track coach, and also a gym teacher. And he was the only black teacher at the school. It was a private school, Catholic school. They had a lot of fathers and mothers, mothers such and fathers such and such was, the teacher at this, a teacher at that, so, and they even had some of them staying at the school where they had like housing in the back. I think a lot of Catholic schools are like that, but they had like housing where they'd stay their father, Simmons, and brother or whatever. So, but he was the only black teacher. And that I can remember. I don't remember any other black people. And there was a lot of black kids went to the school. So they kind of favored him. He was cool. He was younger than the average teacher. I imagine he was probably 30, maybe 29 or 30. He was married. I don't remember if he had kids or not, but he was in good shape. And this had to been, this was years ago. I was a freshman. I had to been probably 87, 88, 1987, 88. So it was years ago. And at that time, you didn't see like basketball players jumping and taking the ball between their leg and dunking the ball. But now it's like everybody can do that. My son can do it. It's like everybody can do this kind of stuff now. Or a lot of people can do this kind of stuff now. And, at the time that wasn't common, but the coach, he wasn't a tall guy. He was probably 6'7", maybe 6, no, not 6'7", 5'6" or 5'7", something like that. And he was able to jump and take the ball between his legs and lay the ball up. He couldn't dunk it, but he could dunk the ball just regular one hand, and it was just amazing to us. So and he did karate. Now I don't know if he was actually trained to do karate, but he, at least as far as I knew, it looked like he could, because he could kick real high, and he would jump and do spin kicks in gym, just flexing that he could do it. And he was a muscle guy, so I was like, man, this dude know karate. But this is a 14-year-old mind looking at this grown man. You're assuming that he knows karate because he can, jump up in there and kick and flip and do all this stuff. He could backflip. He could do a lot of different things. But he was our freshman basketball coach. I wasn't that good, but he played everybody. That's just how he was. So everybody had love for him. But the event that happened was he was also my gym teacher. And in gym, it wasn't a controlled environment. So we weren't like, okay, we're going to play volleyball, or we're going to climb ropes, or we're going to play dodgeball. It wasn't a thing like that. It was just pretty much the gym, do whatever you want to do. You want to play basketball, you want to be over here flirting with the girls, you just want to just talk in the corner. Just you was able to do whatever you want to do. It was just basically a free period. And pretty much everybody got an A. That's how it went, because it was really nothing to it, and everybody loved the coach. So I'm going to try to shorten it up as much as I can, because I don't really have all day to deal with this. And plus I need to try to edit this. So he had been in a car accident, the coach. Him and his wife had been in a car accident. She ended up they both ended up being in a hospital, but he got out after 3 days. Her injuries were a little more severe, so she was in the hospital longer. So looking back on it, he was dealing with more of a mental thing with his wife in the situation. He doesn't know the outcome of her. He's in pain himself, but he came on back to work, and he had the stitch over his eye. He had like these big, it was probably, I don't know, maybe an inch and a half or something like that. It was fairly big across his brow. And he had these headaches, because he would say something about headaches, and he was like, yeah, y'all keep it down today. I just, I got a headache or whatever. So, in gym, kids, you'll keep it down because you got love for him. And then over time, it kind of gets back louder again. And he's like, hey, y'all calm down. And that's just how it was. And then out of respect to him, most people, of course we weren't completely quiet, but nobody would dribble the basketball. Nobody was doing anything to make too much noise. So this situation happened the next day. So the next day, we're in there, and I don't want to say the guy's name either, but, kids doing what they're doing, gets back loud or whatever. He was a classmate. He was probably about 15 or 16. He was a little older. what happened to me, I mean, I felt it was dramatic. It didn't happen directly to me. Like I said, I was in the gym class. So the kid, they were over there. Somebody brought a racquetball to gym class. And it had to be the seniors that were in there. They had the little black racquetball and throwing it up against the wall and hitting it, like jailhouse shit or something. So they were playing that and they were doing that. And the ball hit the wall and it shot over there. And it hit the coach, but it didn't hit him. It like bounced over there and just like hit his foot. And he was already in the mood. He wasn't saying anything to anybody. He was just kind of sitting there, just like in a daze. So the ball bounced over there and hit his foot. Not to the degree it would hurt, but the ball just bounced and hit his foot. He got the ball and he looked at it. And then the kid came over there and said, yeah, throw me the ball. Coach, throw me the ball. The coach is like, if this ball hits me, I'm going to kick every motherfucker ass in here. That's exactly what he said. And I was kind of near him. We were in a group talking. I overheard that and I looked because, teachers cursing and students, you kind of hear it. But teachers, I was like, man, Millsap is pissed. So he bounced the ball back and then the coach told the kid, stop playing with that racquetball. Because I don't want to be the person I'm going to be if it hits me. So the kid's like, yeah, whatever. Got the ball, threw it back to the elder juniors and seniors because we were freshmen. And they're back over there hitting the ball. Now, I don't know who hit the ball, but whoever hit the ball against the wall, that ball made a beeline directly to the brow of the coach where the stitches were, and it hit him real hard, and it hit him so hard it deflected and flew across the gym. And then he sat there, and then blood just started pouring out of that, down his face, dripping on his clothes. And he always wore sweats, and he's looking at his hands, and I'm like, oh, shit. And then the people that I was with was like, oh, what? And it was a girl there, and she was like, oh, and then it was like the whole gym just kind of, it was like somebody turned the volume down on the gym. It was just like zoop. And then we were all like, oh shit. And then he gets up and I'm thinking like, man, is he going to go hit this kid or whatever? But he didn't. He walked across the gym because our gym, it had, let me see, maybe 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 9 or 12 doors across the gym. It was like threes, it was like twos. It was twos, across the front of the gym where you could come in, like when you had games or whatever. But it was doors going across there. But he only kept one door open. People come in and out. He went to that door and he pulled his keys out. And everybody was just frozen looking at him. And he pulled all off these keys and he closed the door and he locks it. Then he turns around and looks and says, I'm finna kick every motherfucker's ass in here. And everybody was just like frozen, like, what? And I'm still sitting because, they had the bleachers, the kind that, well, all the bleachers kind of do the same thing where you grab the bottom and pull them out and there's all these big roll comes out. And when he says that, I'm sitting there like, what? And everybody's looking at him. And then the closest guy to him, it was this kid. I'll say his name. This kid, Ricky. He had a long curl, and curls was out of style by the end, but he had a curl, and he was the closest to the coach. The coach looked at him, ran, and did like a jump side karate kick and kicked Ricky in the face. Ricky flew at least 3 feet and then back hit the floor first. And then everybody just started screaming and running. And I was in shock. I was like I couldn't move. And then I looked and then he ran and he kicked a senior. He did like a kung fu kind of thing where he's on one leg and then he kicked the kid in the stomach, then kicked him in the face, then he went down. Then he ran after somebody else and then he did like a jump kick and kicked them in the back and then they hit the floor. And then that's when I started running because he was like halfway to where we was at. And the back doors are always the back doors were locked, but they was like a security thing. So the one door in the back near where the weights were at, that door you can go out of it if it wasn't locked. But the way the school was made, there's another way where you can go, and it's these steps that would take you down to the band room that was like downstairs in the basement. And then you can go through the band room and then go up the steps on the other side. And then that would take you up into the cafeteria because the whole school was like an L. It was an L shape. And the gym was to the furthest part of the L. But then when you went down into the band room and come up the other side, you would be in the cafeteria. So when you come out of that cafeteria, then you could get to the hallway, which is still on the same side where those gym doors, because it was like all these gym doors were locked. And then it was the doors for the cafeteria. So you could come out of the cafeteria. The principal office was on the other side of the L. So you had to go all the way down this hallway, turn, then go all the way down. And then it was 2-level school, but this is on a main level. So the first thing I did was, I started running, and I'm running to the band room because, when you have band, I remember those steps go like that. So I'm running there, and then there's like a couple of people behind me running, going down these steps. Everybody else was going out the back door to the outside, where the gym was. So I didn't see who else got assaulted or anything. I just know I was running, I'm crying, I'm scared. I'm a kid, and this grown man that knows karate, I don't want any of that. So we go down the steps, go through the band room, come up the steps, come through the cafeteria, bust out of there. I'm in the hallway. I'm heading to tell the principal. So he running, I think it was father some damn body. I don't know who the fuck he was, but he was some Catholic father, some fucker. So I'm running down the thing, trying to get to this thing. You you're running so fast down this hallway. Even if you're not a fast runner, when you're running in the hallway, you just seem like you're going super fast. But I was going so fast that I couldn't make that L turn. I couldn't make the turn quick enough. I couldn't slow down enough. When I made the turn, I ran into the lockers, but I still kept going. I didn't feel the pain of hitting the lockers. I just kept going, and I was screaming, yelling, and we all yelling and screaming. And I guess she was the assistant principal. It was a white lady, real tall white lady. They used to call her Big Bird as a nickname, but I can't remember her name. But she wasn't a sister or anything. She was vice principal or dean of students or something, basically the disciplinary. She was coming out of the room. She was like, "What are you doing running in the hall? You stop running in the hall. What are you doing?" He was like, "Oh, coach such and such done went crazy. He done go crazy. He hitting students." And then she was like, What? Slow down. What are you saying?" He's like, "He's hitting students. He's beating up such and such. He's beating up. He kicked them in the face." And then they like, "What? What's going on?" And then she got her mic out, and she's running that way. And she was like, and she's calling all the male teachers in the school, figuring we're going to need a male teacher to at least grab him. He wasn't a little dude, so it didn't matter who you was gonna have grab him. It wasn't something that was readily going to do anything. You might slow him down, but you couldn't stop him. Only he was going to be able to stop him. And it was a couple of football players that were big enough, but at the same time, these motherfuckers 17, 18 years old, and he's a grown man that knew karate. Well, as far as I knew, felt like he knew karate. And so, because some of those big football players was in that gym and was equally running like my small ass was running. So they didn't want none of it because everybody's like, karate, you jump up 6 feet and kick stuff in the air. Man, look, man, I ain't want that. And I don't think anybody at that school wanted that. So he went on, and the teachers running tried. So by the time we running that way, and it was another teacher that came first, and he was a younger guy, but he wasn't a muscle guy. He was just a younger guy, and everybody liked him too. He was, kind of hip, cool guy. And he came out of the classroom like, "What's going on?" And she was like, "Coach such and such is attacking students." So the same kid that was in my class that started off with the racquetball, that got it from him in the first place, that got the ball back from him from first place and started back playing, he had already beat him up pretty good and was chasing him. So the kid comes running. It's not Ricky. This is another kid. He comes running. He tries to turn the corner like I did, but he's going so fast you can't really turn the corner. So right when he turned the corner, the coach was just he hit him high like a tackle and hit him high and bow. He hit the lockers. And then he had him by his collar talking about how he'll kill him. And then you had the big bird teacher trying to stop him. Then the other younger teacher was like, Coach, you gotta it's not worth it. You gotta stop, and I guess from him running and kicking and fighting and everything, his stitches were just pouring out blood. It was like, I mean, it was something. I mean, I almost thought that it was the student's blood because it was blood on him, blood on his arm, and they're trying to hold him back. And I was just scared to death, man. And we ended up, they let school out for the day. And to be honest, I don't remember him even getting arrested. I don't remember him getting arrested. I don't remember what really happened after that, other than that they let school out early. They said over this intercom, go to your homerooms, because that teacher, once they halfway calmed her down. It was father, some fucking body came and said, you kids just go to your homeroom. And then they put the word out, and then they said over the intercom, all students stay where you are until we let you know. And then they just told us to go into the homeroom. So we go into our homeroom, but it is not our home students because it was the classes that switched to come to that class. But they just told us to go there because they didn't want us out there with, basically witness situation. Maybe he'll see a student and the coach just fly off the handle again or something. But oh man, it was dramatic. It was fucking crazy. It was highly dramatic to me, and it shook me up a lot. And I've seen. I've seen the guy that got beat up by the coach, through the years. I've seen him off and on through the years. And he was actually kind of a bully, growing up. He was kind of a bully. I never had a whole lot of issue with him, but I did have a little issue with him. He kind of would just bully little stuff here and there. But then I end up, he always wanted to try to wrestle me, but I never wanted to wrestle. I would just, I was fairly long. I was taller than him. So every time we wrestle, we just kind of wrap up and then it end up stopping or whatever. And then one time he grabbed me and slammed me real hard where I hit my head. And I actually bust my head, but it wasn't that bad. It was just a little split. And then I remember my cousin telling me, he's like, yeah, he said, you're going to have to, you're going to have to slam that dude. And that's what ended up happening. It was one time I ended up wrestling him. And I slammed him down real hard. And then he mad and jumped back up and tried to wrestle again. Then I ended up slamming him again. And then he wanted to fight now. So, but yeah, that was the same kid that got attacked by the coach. And after that event, I just felt bad for him. Because even after, he didn't come back to school for weeks. But then when he did come back, kids are kids. They was making fun of him. You're just making fun of him. It's like, oh, you got your ass whooped by the coach, but I never seen the coach. Let me change that. I didn't not never see the coach again. I never seen the coach at the school again. But as years went by, come to find out, he's still teaching and he's still coaching. He's actually a track coach that won a state championship a few years back. So I don't think charges ever got pressed. I don't know if they ever sued the school, the family ever sued the school, or, I don't know what happened after that. But that was a traumatic event, man, to see a teacher attack a student and to be able to witness that like that. And I really told this story just kind of a little therapy for myself, just to get it off my chest. I told my wife the story the other day. And it's a few guys that I may still talk to that I went to school with that remember the story. And then there's people that don't remember it all. It's almost like they put a mental block. And I knew that they were in the gym at the time when that happened. And I bring it up to them. They was like, oh, I don't remember that. So it's almost like a mental block. But that shook me up. So it kind of made me have a certain level of respect for teachers and just people in general. You know what I mean? Because you don't know what somebody's thinking. You'll never know what they're going to do. Some people give you warnings. Some people go without warning. So I'm not one to push somebody in it, especially if they're in a state that in some kind of mental state that they're dealing with something, because you don't really know what they're dealing with. But I'm not just up here just being jerks to people, and then because you just never know what they're gonna do. They're like, this whole road rage thing is crazy, and people still will cut you off and give finger signs and pull up next to you and blow their horn and yell at you or whatever. So but but yeah, that's the story. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I actually ran a little longer than I planned to. I actually shortened up a lot of it, but if you like these stories and other stuff I may talk about, I talk about entertainment news, my point of view on it. I might do some reaction videos. I do just like different things. That's why I call it a show and not a podcast, because I'm not just talking about one thing. It's just, and I got a lot of stories. I'm an older guy, so I've been through a lot of stuff. So, but yeah, I'm going to go ahead and wrap the show up. Like, share, subscribe if you like the content. If not, don't. Shit. What do I give a fuck? It's your boy, Carlito Monroe. Peace.